this one, you could view group accesses, remove group access, and add a member to. Also, edit workflow wordings to where you could change the approval level wording for a specific workflow. And code search, where you could view all the codes and code types in a specific workflow or, in the codes table. I wore two hats. I did business analyst work as well as development. And so some of the analysis that was done was a Moscow, which has the must, should, could, won't, which was pre-development, figuring out what the requirements are, what the project should do, what it won't do, etc. An entity relationship diagram is something I made for how to how all the tables relate that we were going to be using. Test plans, so we could test the products thoroughly. Project stories, which this document stated how the user was going to be using what it was and what tools they were going to be using, stating all the things that they can do and won't do. Project scope, this is kind of the contract, if you will, with the user to say, okay, this is what we will do and we won't go beyond these lines for this project. And risk assessment. We looked up the risk for if there was any legal risks, security risks, personnel risks, etc. Project timeline to figure out how the timeline was going to, how long the project was going to take, as well as a cost estimate. And then developing screen mockups. Now this is the entity relationship diagram for the tables that we used. The ones that are highlighted were tables that I added for the admin group. And here is a mockup for the workflow search. This was done in Paint, and as you can see, there's a selection for employee or agency. First name, last name, form type, it would be a drop down, and then how that would display. This is how they've ended up. As you can see, the radio button is there, as well as we found an enhancement for this of having a modal pop-up. So I learned how to use a modal pop-up for select an employee to where you could search for an employee and then it would do a wildcard search so it didn't have to be exact name. And then you could search, select, and then put your form type. Here is the mock-up for edit group access. As you can see, there's a first name, last name, agency, users group, search button. And this is what the product looked like. Again, we swapped out the text boxes with a modal pop-up to where you could see who you were searching by. And you can't see there, but in the top here, it has the group name as well as the group email and a view roster button, which could be useful for if you wanted to see all the groups in a specific agency, then you could just click on those to view their specific rosters. And then the user information is down below. Here is a pop-up for adding a person to a group. As you can see, I searched part of my name, ITSD Services, which is a group that I am in. When I clicked search, it populated this green box and disabled that because I could not be added to that group again. And then this is a mock-up for code search, entering in a code name, code type, search, which we reversed a little bit to where you had to select a code type. And then from there, if you wanted to narrow down your results in it, you could do so. Also adding a legend, because some of the code types in the database aren't exactly explicit on what that means. So the legend allows the user to read exactly what those code types are for. System development. I had no previous experience in any of